Yes, welcome to class, and this is still on the photography course. This is module 4, where we're going to be talking about understanding camera settings. Remember, in previous um, modules, we have talked about photography equipment, intro or introduction to photography, and of course the do's and don'ts in photography. So now um, you have to understand the settings of the camera that you're going to be using. I mean, for clients, for your use, and it's important that um, you get a proper hold of it. Yes. So um, let's go straight. We're going to be discussing on aperture, shutter speed, ISO, exposure triangle, white balance, focus modes, metering modes, practical applications, and um, common mistakes in this content. This is quite a rich one for me, and I hope that you would pay attention and um, make the best use of um, this class and this lesson. So, mastering camera settings is key to gaining creative control over your images. This module guides you through exposure, aperture, shutter speed, ISO, and other advanced functions. So, whether you're a beginner or you're advancing your skills, you will learn how to adjust settings to achieve the exact look and feel that you want. Alright, so let's talk about the aperture first. Now, what this does is that it helps you to control um, the depth of field and um, the amount of light. It's measured in f-stops, and as you can see, you have f 1.8, f/2.8, and f11. So when you have a wide aperture, um, that's blurred background, narrow, and then everything is sharp. So you need to learn how to use this and use it appropriately. Now you then have the shutter speed. Um, so this controls how long light hits the sensor. So if you have a fast shutter, it freezes the motion. That's 1/500s. And then if you have uh, a slow shutter, what it does is that it creates motion blur rather. So you are the one that will determine how you want to set your shutter speed, depending on use it for. And then talking about the ISO, um, this controls it controls sensor sensitivity to light. Yeah, yes. So this is what determines how sensitive your sensor will be to light. So when you have a low ISO, it gives you clean images. Yes. So if you're trying to achieve low clean images, you know that your ISO should be low. And then when you have when you're trying to deliberately introduce noise, that is when you should use ISO. And um, you should only use ISO when the light is low. Yes, so that is when you use um, ISO, like I'm saying. So it's just basically like a key part of the exposure triangle, and this same ISO is it makes the sensor more sensitive, and it allows for faster shutter speeds or small apertures, which is useful for low light or action photography. So So you know that if you increase the ISO, what it will do is that it will amplify the signal, and that will lead to digital noise. That's why I said ISO introduces noise or grain. Yeah. So basically, it's like a trade-off between brightness, image quality. So all of talking about exposure triangle now, the aperture, the shutter speed, um, the ISO, they all work together. Mm? They all work together, and balancing them helps you to achieve correct image brightness. Mastery gives control in anything lighting. So this exposure triangle, it's like a concept, a concept in photography that describes the relationship, just like I said earlier, between aperture, shutter speed, and ISO in controlling the brightness of an image. Yes. So, like I said, when you balance these three, that's it's very crucial, for you to achieve a proper exposure. And if you try to adjust one element, that would require a compensatory adjustment to one or both of the others to maintain the same um, overall brightness. Yeah. For the white balance, that just helps you to correct color temperature of images. Yeah, and it also prevents images from looking too warm or too cool. Okay, it's essential for accurate ketones. It's basically like the process of adjusting colors in an image to make sure that they would appear, you know, like they would appear the way it would be in real life. Like you're trying to correct the color cast for the light source. Human eyes automatically adjust for different light colors, but cameras record the exact color of the light. So, white balance would ensure that white objects look white, even under lights that can cast um, different colors or different hue. So you can set your white balance manually. You can use presets for different conditions, like daylight. You can use auto white balance, and you can adjust it also with a custom setting. Your white balance is very important because of natural colors. It prevents images from having an unnatural color cast, and of course for creative control. I know the main goal is neutrality, but white balance can also be used creatively to add warm or cool tones to an. So next I want to talk on is the focus modes. So you have AF, S. That's for stationary subjects, like for still subjects. Then you have the AFC. That's like your autofocus for moving subjects, or continuous focus for moving subjects. And then you have the manual focus for precise control. So what this does is that now for your AFS, that's the single focus, the single shot focus. Now it focuses only when you have pressed the shutter button and it locks the focus. So if the subject moves, the focus will not change, and it's best for stationary subjects like portrait or landscape. Then for your continuous autofocus, that's your AFC. What this one does is that it continuously refocuses on the subject as long as the shutter button is half pressed. So if you're doing maybe like sport, wildlife, or a person that is walking, yeah, that's good. Then you also have the full-time autofocus, which is I'm sorry. Yes, you have the full-time autofocus here, and that's some cameras use that for video, all right. But for this lesson, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the manual focus, and it's best for when you need precise control, like controlled studio environment, specific landscape, and all. So you manually turn the focus range. Yeah, metering modes, you have the evaluative matrix, general scenes, center weighted for portrait, sports metering, icon. So how do you practice this? You use fast shutter speed for sports. I said that. You use wide aperture for portrait, and use environment. You only use your ISO when you're trying to introduce noise. All right. So using your ISO is unnecessary. Don't use it unnecessarily. Rather, incorrect white balance settings. I've said that too. Undirect light. So camera settings determine image quality. Exposure triangle is the foundation of photography. Practice helps you build confidence. And once you're done with this module, you'll be able to manually adjust your camera settings with purpose and precision. This understanding will elevate your photography by giving you full control over light, motion, and image quality. Thank you. I'll see you again